They laughed at her crutches, mocked her limp, and thought she was weak. The bullies circled her, ready for easy entertainment. But the moment she shifted her stance, steady, precise, their smirks faded. Because what they didn't know was that she wasn't just disabled, she was a martial arts prodigy trained to perfection. What happens next? Let's start the story. The hallway echoed with laughter, sharp and cruel, as Maya rolled her eyes and adjusted the grip on her crutches, trying her best to ignore the sneering voices behind her. It was always the same, whispers turning to chuckles, chuckles into outright mockery, as if her limp was an invitation for ridicule. Born with a condition that affected one side of her body, Maya had spent her entire life moving differently. Crutches were her constant companions, her legs uneven but her spirit unshaken. Despite the daily taunts, she walked into Jefferson High with her chin raised, always believing that her worth wasn't defined by her body. But some didn't see it that way. Today, the worst of them stood waiting near the lockers. Troy, muscle-bound and mean-spirited, flanked by his equally arrogant crew, Jenna and Kyle. "Look who's hobbling down the runway," Troy snickered, folding his arms. "Careful, Maya. The floor's not handicapped accessible." Jenna smirked, pretending to trip over an invisible object. "Oops, oh no. Someone call for assistance." Kyle fake-limped behind her, and the trio burst into exaggerated laughter. Maya sighed, gripping her crutches tighter, refusing to let her eyes meet theirs. "Ignore them. Ignore them," she whispered to herself, like a mantra. But today, they weren't content with words. Troy stepped forward, kicking one of her crutches lightly, making it wobble. "Oops. Butterfingers," he grinned. "Bet you can't do much without these, huh?" The hallway quieted. Students paused, unsure if this was just another taunt or if something worse was brewing. "Leave me alone, Troy," Maya said, her voice firm but even. "Or what?" he sneered. "You gonna chase me?" His friends howled with laughter. Her jaw tightened. She adjusted her weight, steadying herself perfectly. A shift so subtle no one noticed the change in her posture, the calculated positioning of her feet, the way her crutches weren't just tools for balance, but extensions of her body. For years, what no one at Jefferson High knew was that while they saw a disabled girl struggling to walk, Maya spent her evenings mastering forms, drills, and disciplines under the watchful eye of Master Chen, a 7th-degree black belt who believed limits were illusions. Since she was 8, Maya had trained in adaptive martial arts, refining her strength, agility, and precision. What her bullies mistook for weakness was, in truth, an engine of resilience that had forged her into a prodigy. "Come on, give me the crutch," Troy jeered, yanking one from her hand. The crowd gasped as Maya wobbled, then straightened perfectly on one leg. A flash of confusion crossed Troy's face. "Last warning," Maya said, her voice lower now, colder. "Give it back." "Or what, cripple?" Troy spat. That was the last straw. In one fluid motion, Maya pivoted on her grounded leg, sweeping the stolen crutch upward in a circular arc. The padded end struck Troy clean under the chin with a loud crack, sending him sprawling backward into the lockers. The hallway erupted into stunned silence. Troy's eyes went wide as he clutched his jaw, groaning. Maya shifted, spinning the remaining crutch with such fluid grace that it was clear this wasn't random. It was technique. Jenna lunged forward in shock, hands out as if to shove Maya down, but Maya sidestepped, leaning on her crutch like a lever, and planted a swift palm strike to Jenna's shoulder, sending her toppling onto her back. Kyle hesitated, eyes darting between his fallen friends and Maya, who stood there now, not as the girl they mocked, but as something entirely different. Powerful, confident, dangerous. You're crazy," Kyle stammered. "Stay away from me." He bolted down the hallway, slipping on his own untied laces. Students stared, mouths agape, phones raised, capturing every second. For years, they had watched Maya move slowly, carefully, assuming that she was fragile. Now they saw her for what she truly was, disciplined, sharp, and undeniably strong. Troy groaned from the floor, trying to stand, but Maya planted the tip of her crutch on his chest, holding him down just enough to stop him. Her gaze met his, steady and unblinking. "I told you to give it back," she said simply. The assistant principal rounded the corner, drawn by the commotion, stopping dead at the sight of the scene. Troy down, Jenna groaning, Kyle nowhere to be seen, and Maya standing over them, poised like a warrior. "What is going on here?" the principal barked. Troy stammered. She attacked me." "Oh, please," a student shouted from the crowd. "We saw everything. They started it. He grabbed her crutch." Another chimed in. "It's all on video." The assistant principal turned, frowning as multiple phones were thrust toward him. Watching the footage in seconds, his expression shifted from confusion to disbelief, then to barely concealed pride. He turned back to Troy. "Mr. Jenkins," he said sternly, "looks like you've got some explaining to do in the office, along with Jenna. Maya, you good?" Maya nodded calmly. "I'm good." As Troy and Jenna were hauled away, the hallway erupted, not in mocking laughter this time, but in applause. People clapped. Some cheered. Others approached her with hesitant admiration, realizing they had underestimated her for far too long. A younger student with braces looked up at Maya with wide eyes. "That was the coolest thing I've ever seen." Maya smiled softly. "Thanks. Just remember, don't let anyone tell you what you can or can't do." That afternoon, the video exploded across social media. Headlines read, "Disabled girl shuts down bullies with martial arts skills, goes viral." Interview requests flooded in. Local news ran a feature titled "Strength Beyond Limits," showcasing Maya's story, how martial arts gave her confidence, how she turned every limitation into strength, and how bullying was often the product of ignorance, not truth. Masterchin stood proudly beside her in interviews, explaining, "Maya's never been broken. Her body doesn't move like everyone else's, but her spirit moves mountains." At school, everything changed. No longer did the hallways echo with cruel laughter. Instead, whispers of respect followed her, admiration, not pity. Maya didn't ask for it. She didn't fight to prove herself to anyone. She fought because she knew. True strength wasn't about how you stood. It was about how you rose. And Maya, she rose like a warrior. Every single time.